Hello, fellow comic book worms. This is Naman. We got Sleepy Rita next to
Hey,
me.
hey,
We got
hey.
we got Metal Rock right below us with the Superman shirt. We're gonna do a Legion of Superheroes by Mike Grell. Mike Grell run. So I think Metal Rock has a little better idea. So I'm gonna let Metal Rock take charge. So Roger, lead us on to this discussion.
All right, maybe we
Well,
should give just a tad of a background about the Legion of Superheroes. I think not everybody is familiar with them.
Yeah, yeah.
All right,
okay.
so they actually came about because three R.J. Brand, which is he was an industrialist, right? And he was in the transport with these three young youths that had special powers:
You
Saturn Girl, Lightning Lass, and Cosmic Boy. During that transport, his life, there was an assassination attempt. They thwarted it, and he came up with them and proposed that they form a team. Hey, Miss Southern Belle, form a team so that they could actually, use their powers for, the better of society, the universe, all that stuff. Okay. So those three are the original Legionnaires. Legionnaires 3, they're called later on. After a while, they started to have these membership drives, and they would have people with special powers come before them, go through initiation or tests to see if they had the morals, if they had the powers, if they had the dedication, etc. Superboy was an early entry of that. So that was throughout the 60s. Yeah, there's the original, right?
They started as kind of a Superboy branch off, right?
Yeah,
and
correct.
That's why for such a long time it was Superboy, and they were inspired by Superman and Superboy.
Right. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, because the superheroes apparently were not that between the 20th and the 30th century. There weren't a lot of them apparently.
Right.
So Superboy inspired them, R.J. Brand and them to become this team, the super heroic team. And throughout the 60s, again, they had all kinds of members come in. We'll talk about a little bit about them as time goes by. But in the Silver Age, they were primarily drawn by Kurt Swan, and then they had the older costumes. We'll probably see that a little bit later. But when they came into the Bronze Age, they started to become much more modern. Dave Cockrum took over when they were actually in Action Comics as a backup for a while, and then they actually co-starred now with Superboy's title. He had a solo title. But in the late 60s, early 70s. Yeah, there you go. That was the first
Dave Cockrum example.
Yeah, that's Coach. Cockrum lasted for a little bit. I think Nauman's going to talk about that later. And then Mike Grell became the regular artist with issue 202 from 1973, I do believe. No, sorry. He wasn't the regular artist here. He actually did an inking of Dave Cockrum on a featurette with Colossal Boy and Shrinking Violet. It was like a 6-pager.
Yeah.
Okay. It's probably like a little bit of a tryout. And in 203 is where he became the solo artist. With later on, he did have inkers, things like that. But and he went on to draw the Legion for about 2 years, including a Treasury edition, which we'll talk maybe at the end about that.
Yeah, I made a thumbnail on that one, right? Well, you got another one.
Right. So the writers were...
so all of us seem to remember him fondly, right? That's why we're doing this video, in a sense.
Yeah.
He made his mark with the Legion in the minds of fans.
To me, Cockrum sort of started getting them a little more modernized with the costumes and everything. But Mike Grell, to me, is the one who definitively took them into the 30th century type of environment. The machinery, the luster, the action ramped up when Grell took over in 70. Was it 72 or 73? I forget which one it is, but it was in the early 70s. There are two writers primarily.
74.
74. Okay, wow.
Yeah.
I started buying them around 75, so I wasn't clear.
Will you object if I say that they seem to have copied quite a bit from Star Trek?
Yeah, if you look at their at the Legion cruiser, right? It looks a bit like the Enterprise. It has the disc,
exactly,
and then it has the rear.
Even
it's a little
how they're dressed, all the dressing they did. If you see the Enterprise guests, those sexy Enterprise ladies, like aliens, they came on. A lot of dress seem to have come from that particular particular style.
The last thing I'm going to say is that there were two primary writers during this era, Cary Bates and Jim Shooter, and most of the issues, the early issues, have two stories, a little longer and then a shorter one, which is generally focused on one or two Legionnaires. Okay, so these are generally one-offs. There's no kind of subplots that drag on forever, anything like that. These are really quick reads, so you can just delve into it, and it's sort of self-contained. All right.
Right. So it seems transitionary to me. It's like it still had some of that Silver Age flavor, but Grell was making it look more modern, and maybe the Jim Shooter stories were pushing forward a little more than the
I agree with that.
Cary Bates stories. That's my kind of impression of it.
I agree with that. Yeah.
You think Cary Bates was trying to stay with the silver, and Jim Shooter went a little bit further into the future?
Yeah. And I think Jim Shooter was always pushing DC a little further ahead than they naturally went.
Yeah, he didn't like to have things static. He'd like things to progress, which is why there were changes that went on. Legionnaires died, they married. There was a lot of changes in leadership. Eventually, Superboy left, but that's a different era, right?
That's quite a bit later, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, quite a bit later. So this is the first one, 203. Now, he did do the covers after 224 for a while, but he went to do Warlord and Green Arrow, Green Lantern, and that's 3 comics. This went monthly. I think that was just too much for him, right?
Yeah.
But again, very dynamic covers, unlike the kind of goofy ones from the Silver Age. You know what I mean?
I'm going to show you some. I took a pretty good photos, but it also shows how awful my comic book is. How awful my shape of my comic books. But yeah, this is 203. This picture is from my personal collection, so forgive the low grade nature of my comic book. But,
hey, it reads the same as any of ours.
Yeah, but
that's a beautiful cover, though. I'm trying to remember who did it. It was it Nick Cardy?
Yep, Nick Cardy. Yep, correct. Yeah, you can tell by Superboy's face.
Right.
Yeah.
Who is kind of a classic Silver Age kind of artist too.
Yeah. So you notice how Superboy is very roundish looking, not statuesque.
Correct. Yeah, correct. Looks a little bit on the frumpy side there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's Validus above them.
Yeah.
And this is interesting, right? Because nowadays things are blown so out of proportion, right? Because you have to the right from our perspective of Superboy, you have Invisible Kid there. There is nothing there, right, that says what's going to happen.
Right.
Okay. But a Legionnaire will die.
There's this word, massacred by remote control.
Yeah, massacred by, but it doesn't say, hey, a Legionnaire will die in this issue. Read to find out.
Right. It's surprising they don't do that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that wasn't a thing. I mean, it was part of a plot, part of the storylines. It wasn't a selling gimmick.
Now, we're going to. I want to discuss a little bit about Dave Cockrum's art and Mike Grell's art. Can you show? I don't have the 202.
Yeah.
Can you show some art from 202?
Yeah. Hey, Comic Book Estate. Yeah, Bouncy Boy was kind of like a joke in the Legion of Superheroes, but
But he
Once he got Duplicate Girl to fall in love with him, he seemed more.
and he's
You
the
had to
coolest
respect
dude
him
now.
more.
He's cool.
Right. So we have here. You can definitely see this. This is actually really good stuff here by Cockrum and Grell. Really tight pencils, really nice panel designs.
More of that kind of crosshatch, inky feeling that Grell brought to it.
That's correct. Very good. Excellent. But you can see like a Shrinking Violet's face there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can see that it's much more modern. Look at the hairdo. It's all more modernized. It's much closer up to the face. Silver Age, they were a little bit further away. They weren't really individualized quite as much. It was more team shots. Look at the emoting here on Colossal Boy's face.
Okay, look at that nose right there.
That's really nice.
I want you to pay attention to that nose,
Yes.
guys.
Right.
Pay attention to that nose, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna hold on. Let me see. Let me see if I could go to 201. I'm gonna go back to Dave Cockrum's work by himself, okay?
All right.
Yes, Howler Mouse, you're right. Under Grell, it seemed like everyone was wearing bathing suits.
Yeah.
Skimpy bathing suits.
Right.
This is Dave Cockrum's by himself, right?
Yes.
Superboy still seemed to be pretty roundish character.
Yep.
Notice look at his nose. Let me find the big image of a face. Right here, look at this guy's nose right here.
Yeah, Cosmic Boy, yeah.
Yeah, you see the nose right there?
Yeah.
What is now show up your nose on your is that
Yeah.
Mike Grell is
I think of that as the Neil Adams nose.
you
I
think that's
first
Neil
noticed
Adams
that
nose.
in Neil
So Mike
Adams'
Grell
book.
got that from Neil Adams.
And Mike Grell was a huge admirer of Neil Adams. That's what brought him back into
Yeah,
comics.
and that cross hatching make the characters look very, I want to say statuesque. I mean, it's just, and
They're sexy.
yeah, it's very,
Yeah. Very attractive.
Roman statue looking, very realistic.
Once you got rid of Bouncing Boy, everybody else is very Adonis like, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Very
with some
And
exceptions.
they all have
but-
sideburns. They all have
They all have a
sideburns.
cool sideburns.
They're very
Well, it was the
70s
70s,
looking.
Damien.
They're
I had
all-
them too back then. I mean,
They were all
in grade
Elvis
school.
Presley in prime.
Yeah. But right. So yeah, that I really enjoyed the art there. The Cockrum Grell team was really, really good. It was futuristic. It was detailed. Great layouts. Just excellent stuff right there. Of course, it was just a short story, but still.
Okay.
All right. So you want to go back to 203?
Yeah, let's go back to 203.
Hey, Kenneth
Well,
Bird.
something big happens in
Hey, Jack.
203, as you were indicating.
Right. Well, it's no secret, right, that Invisible Kid sort of saves the day, but he gets killed by Validus in the process.
Oh yeah, that was a pretty controversial, I guess. a little bit.
Right. You could say that, but you see,
Yeah.
I think, and we were speaking this before offline before. Generally, they don't do a lot of subplotting as far as, but Shooter, I think, did, and I think he had plans for the death of Invisible Kid, which will come up later on.
But before we go on to that, I want to do some
That death was that death by Carrie Bates, and then Shooter picked it back up later.
I think that's what it
how it
was.
worked?
Yeah.
The
Before-
thing that strikes me, that the next issue, no one's thinking about
No.
that death.
No.
If it were a Marvel comic, Peter Parker would spend half the issue feeling guilty,
Right.
ruminating over it.
Right.
It's such a DC comic of the old school, where even when these big emotional things happen, you wouldn't know it the next issue.
It's like episodic.
They eventually swing back around to it,
does, yeah.
But
But,
doesn't it seem like an episodic to you? I mean, it's sort of it's over with one episode. It's one over. It's
Yeah.
Right.
you know what I mean. It's like a
One and done.
not
Yeah.
a series, but it's just much like a Star Trek stories. It's one story, then it's over, and then one story
Yeah,
is over.
correct.
It's
But
like the old school
there's
TV
some,
where
Very
there's some
episodic.
things that sort of set things up, but very, very minutely, just very broadly, shall we say. Yeah.
But before we get into soap opera of a Legion of Superhero, I do want to bring this up before I forget. Okay, I don't want to jump here and there, but let me bring something up real quick. Let me see if I could add this to this. Oops. Here, I'm going to read Super Talk. This is editor's note. They bring in Mike Grell, and Mike Grell inked for one time with Dave Cockrum. And I guess Dave Cockrum on his own way. And so here's what they are saying here. The reason we reduced the usual space for letter this time is to expand a lot of number of art pages from 20 to 21. Woohoo! Why to make the most of introducing Mike Grell, and yet his peerless penmanship needs no introduction because it was displayed in number 202. So they're talking about his inking with the Cockrum's pencils. So have we got news for you? First, bad news. Dave Cockrum was virtually unknown. He was virtually unknown in the field and gained the star artist status only after we gave him the opportunity to. The Legion has departed. I thought that was like,
Yeah. A bit of a slam there, wasn't it? Yeah.
We brought him in and we gave him an opportunity.
Hey, Kyle, how you doing, buddy? Yeah. It was not an amicable parting for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they thought that was a nice thing to say, or
right. Of course, he went on to pencil the X-Men reboot, which is, of course, very famous now, and not everybody, but there has a huge amount of fans. But
so it's interesting that he went from Legion of Superheroes to X-Men.
Right.
It made them look pretty cool. I mean,
yeah, he did. I mean, Cockrum was a heck of an artist, and he created the Starjammers, which were actually the Legion of Superheroes in the Marvel universe. I mean, I'm sorry, the Shi'ar Guard, the Shi'ar Imperial Guard, were if you look at them side by side, I did a video. They're the exact same people, exactly the same powers, same kind of costumes, everything. But anyway, that's another video we can make maybe someday.
Anyway, I thought that was interesting.
It is interesting.
To take a notice because
so let's move on to 204, which is a cool story because it sort of flips what we were talking about the other day. Beforehand, is that now they're being visited by somebody from their future. Not the 30th century. It's like the 75th century or something. I forgot exactly when it is.
Yeah.
And we were talking about time travel, and apparently so he visits the past and messes things up. And they explain it like a dominoes. Eventually, you hit that first one. Eventually, it's gonna come back to your century and mess up the timeline. So he has to go back and set things right. But they don't remember him because he had to wipe their memory. But unfortunately, they took a picture of him while he was, being initiated.
Yeah.
So kind of a clever little story here.
Okay. The character name was Anti-Lad.
Anti-Lad, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Anti-Lad. Yeah.
Don't he remind you of another character, DC character?
You mean with the visor? Yeah, Cyclops. I mean, to me, Marvel.
No, another DC character. Another DC character.
Another DC character?
come from the future, a hero that act like a hero. He has no superpower, only the technology.
Was that Booster Gold guy?
Yeah, Booster Gold.
Booster Gold. Yeah. Okay. Wow, so much after this.
Damien, I cannot hear you.
Can't hear you.
Damien.
Oh, I think his audio went out. You might have to come out and come back
Oh,
in.
I guess I
there you
muted
are.
myself. And
Okay,
Okay.
there you go.
Good.
I was saying Booster Gold over and over again. I didn't realize
okay.
my mic was muted.
And here I am like, yeah. But again, a cool little story, and Grell again just knocks that out of the park here. He actually makes that future city looks even more futuristic, which I thought was pretty cool.
But yeah, that entire character. Now I read these books when I didn't speak the language, so I didn't actually read them. But I enjoy arts in them. And now I recognize where I learn my arts from is Mike Grell. Mike Grell is where I trace his art. I learn to, if Mike Grell made something shiny looking, like whether it's the fire, I forgot his name, fire guy. He's
Sun
just
Boy.
made out of a flame lad or
Human Torch?
fire lad.
Sun Boy?
Sun Boy? No, not Sun. Sun Boy is the one with the sun. The guy with the
Wildfire.
Wildfire.
Yeah.
I mean, when he makes things, shiny, he put this little shade, the circular thing, bubbly things,
Yeah.
all those things I learned from Mike Grell.
Yeah, they glisten. They glisten. It has a little, yeah.
And he makes those little equipments you got in the lab look very futuristic with all that, everything shiny and stuff.
Hey, Jerry. Hey, Digger. Hey, Comic Book Time. We got some nice people in here. Thanks for joining
Jam.
There's a backup in here. Do you guys remember the backup?
Yes, I love this backup.
Me too. Yeah.
Well,
you want to talk to it, Damon?
Well, essentially, Brainiac 5 leaves the Legion, I believe, to go off with Supergirl.
Yes, okay.
Who has changed her mind and has decided to come to the future and live out her love with Brainiac 5. Only is revealed eventually through a crisis that it was a robot that Brainiac 5 had built subconsciously or in his dreams.
Yep.
That reflected his need for love of Supergirl. And then Supergirl the real Supergirl has rescued him and says she can't cope with being a part-time Legionnaire like her cousin Superboy. Someday maybe she will return and they'll pick up their romance. I don't know if that ever happened, but my Legion knowledge is spotty.
Not really. No, not really.
And
it's just such an odd, I don't know. It's almost like he built his own sex doll or something.
I mean, there's a lot of Greek stories about how you create your own statue and become life. It's to me that it's that kind of story where you create your own art and it becomes life. You fall in love with it. It's one thing that I do notice about these stories is it's very teenage oriented, and you have this misconception of what ideal woman is.
Well, remember these were teenagers. Supposedly. I mean, there's stories later on which contradicts that a bit, but these were teenagers that had these they were just like when we were teens, we were searching for relationships, searching to see what it is that we want in a mate. So there's a lot of that going on here. There's a lot of pairings going on.
I do remember putting these people, girls I fall in love with, I put them in a pedestal. I have certain mind as to what they are like, even ever meeting them. Without ever meeting them, I know who they are. It just and that's what this kind of
Hi, Slim.
where you
Hey,
create
Slim, ain't no
your
good.
perfect person, right?
Yeah, but
Hey,
Brainiac 5, the fact this sort of is a portent of things to come, because he does kind of go insane much later on, when Paul Levitz. Oh yeah, that's a great poster.
I love that
Someone was asking about the poster.
Yeah, that's
I bought this at a
fabulous.
con from the artist Sandy Jarrell. He may still be selling prints.
Cool.
So it's a lot of fun. Makes me wish he could draw the Legion for a little bit or something.
It looks like they're dancing there, right?
Yeah, they're all dancing together, and they all look a little bit Archie-ish, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I was gonna say they look a little bit, more like teenage humor,
Yeah.
All right. Who wants to tackle this one?
Trying to remember it. As usual, we have a shocking cover where our heroes are being shot by their friends.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to say that this is typical still of the Silver Age DC, where something awful seems to happen and then it's explained away, right? There's another story underneath the story.
Correct. It's never as it seems.
Yes.
There's a lot of that. There's a lot of that. The Occam's razor does not apply to these stories most of the time. Okay, you have to look much further. Usually, when it's laid out, that's not the case.
Right.
It's not cut and dry. Like here, I believe they coax Superboy into the future. Ultra Boy, they said, has gone insane, but really, that is all a ploy, because they couldn't control Superboy, so they had to bring him into the future and all that stuff.
And Ultra Boy is the one person who hasn't been controlled.
Right. So he was being drugged.
I'm remembering.
Yeah, he was being drugged
by this weird guy with his helmet that allows him to control people.
Yeah, the master with the beehive apparatus. Right. Yeah,
he's basically a nerd. So
yeah. Once he takes off that's he's
right.
Gone.
Wait, this is where Lana Langton's Queen Bee? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Lana's already established, I think, as Queen Bee from the actual Silver Age.
Yeah. Lana Lang has a ring that was given to her by some alien, whatever. It turns her into not only insects but arachnids as well, apparently. But
yeah, to me, this was a great callback to Silver Age. To me,
yeah, it does. This one really does. Yeah. And Superboy figures it out because of the knot that Ultra Boy has in his cape.
Yeah,
it's like a hoax knot or something. And based on that flimsy amount of evidence, he doesn't go back into the past, figures out that something's going on. He cuts off the pistols, frees Ultra Boy, and saves the day. So.
Right. The clue that allows them to solve the mystery is always very contrived, like that.
Very.
Oh, by the way, he used to teach me this secret knot, and I recognized it.
Exactly. And not only did he figure it out, but he knew that what the knot meant. I mean,
right. I wonder about teenage boy fantasies about a girl who's half Bumblebee. That's kind of.
I've never had that fantasy.
Yeah. Or half wasp or something.
Right. Yeah, she might be a wasp. You're right.
I mean, I'm barely getting over having a fantasy about mermaids.
Yeah, that's true. It's a wasp because remember the master says, "Oh, you got to sting somebody. I forgot who it is, and kill them. Just sting them." But she turned into a wasp where the sting wasn't deadly. It was just like paralyzing or whatever.
Oh, right. Yeah. So it's deadly for a bumblebee, but not for a wasp.
Right. Probably. Right. You want a beehive toupee? Okay. Hey, Hoarder's Hide. Oh boy. So these stories are just fun. You can't take them too seriously. Is all I'm what we're saying here.
Okay.
Well, that one, like, I'm out of focus. A lot of them are like bubble gum, right? You just have fun chewing on them and then you forget about them. Yeah. But then you also have these ones where someone died and now they don't even ever mention it.
Okay,
Right.
well, one of the
And that,
one
I
of
guess,
the-
really bugs me as a more of a Marvel reader from those days.
Right. You want that continuity.
for me, it was really difficult going through some of these because I really enjoyed the artwork. When I was reading these books, I didn't understand the language. Now I'm figuring out the language, and with my background in engineering, a lot of these things are these. I call it pseudoscience.
At
I'm
best.
having,
That's
having some
being
problems
generous.
here.
Yeah.
I mean, like I mean, I know that MCU, Star Trek, even Star Wars, none of them deal with the time dilation, twin paradox. You know, it's traveling close to the speed of light. Well, Superboy can travel faster than the speed of light, and they even say in these books he can travel faster than the speed of light.
Right.
Yeah, now the ridiculousness of a speed of light travel, faster than speed of light travel, is this, guys. If I could travel faster than speed of light, right? I will come to you right there, right in front of your face, and be talking to you, and you won't see me
Right.
because I'm faster than the speed of light. You can only perceive me via speed of light, and I'm already there talking to you, and you know, you know, showing you whatever.
That's only one of the problems, Naman.
Yeah. One of the many. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I
wait
think
till
if
we
you
get
could
to
go
that
faster than
miracle
speed of
machine
light,
thing.
you might actually be going backwards in time.
Time, right. Exactly.
And
And
also,
plus you have to
if you,
decelerate somehow.
yeah, that's
So,
true.
Yeah.
And as you come flying faster than the speed of light from another star system and land on Earth, would you just destroy the entire Earth?
You would. It would be a huge explosion unless you could somehow light years
Right.
before you have to start decelerating, you know. So anyway.
yeah, so
We
Also,
can talk about
if
this
you
all
could
night,
even
you know.
travel like a tenth of the speed of light, you would be invisible to everybody, and you could stop every crime before the person could even pull the gun out of
Absolutely.
the holster. or
They
something.
couldn't even react.
remember the anti-leg guy?
Yeah.
He come back to past because something happened in the past that Superboy is supposed to be accepted into Legion of Superheroes, but
Right.
he found that Superboy wasn't. So
Yep.
how did he knew? How does he know that there's flaw in that history line?
Because he had a time monitor. Naman.
Okay.
Come on, man. I got one right over here. I'm looking at it.
Roger knows more science than you do. You
I
gotta,
got one right here.
keep
man.
up
Come
with
on.
him.
You don't have one in your house? Come on. Hey, Jackson Roy Kirk.
So the way I take the Legion is that it's the idea of science fiction. It doesn't have to be good science fiction. It's just, it was originally for little kids, and it's just that idea of the future and having fun with it.
Right.
And so I have to let go of all of my more sophisticated science fiction ideas, you know,
Yeah,
from
well,
reading Isaac Asimov or something,
Right.
Yeah,
and just
Asimov
go with
is a-
this cartoon child version of the future.
Right. Exactly.
One thing that I realized is that I watch Star Trek and I watch Star Wars, and I dispense all those, right? But I don't know why I couldn't dispense it on this. I don't understand why I can't.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. And really, this is even the lesser of that, because when you're putting something in film, you have a lot more, you know, time and 3 dimensions to tell stories. This is sort of like that, you know. It's like a bat of an eye, not a whole movie.
Yeah. So maybe because I get distracted by other images that I forget, and I
Right.
dispense with other stuff. But because I mean, Superboy traveling faster than the speed of light is a critical to the story.
For his time travel, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, whatever he has to do to save everybody is very critical. If he doesn't do that, right?
True.
And so,
But-
and that's a big part of the story. And you only got a few pages in the story where that's critical. So it has more weight to it.
The science is uneven, to say the least, here,
Yeah,
because
It can
works
be very
sometimes and not others.
distracting. It can be very distracting for an
It
adult.
can be. All right, let's
sophisticated
keep
reader.
going. We'll be here all night here because we're only at 2:06 here. Okay, I mean,
Which one are you doing? What is yours, that one?
2:06. Remember this one? This is where the Feral Lad, Invisible Kid show up in the 20th century.
Oh, right.
Yeah, remember that?
You get the cloning. Here's another one.
And they really are alive scientifically.
They are.
Because Superboy can check them out.
Yeah, they're flesh and blood.
Yeah,
they're flesh and blood.
We had a chance there to see Pharaoh Boy's face, but even there he doesn't see through his mask.
Show it,
yeah.
And we've never seen Pharaoh Boy's
robot.
face.
Helps him defeat this robot or that came out of the ground. Back in the 20s, and he's like, they're like, hey, yeah, we're alive a little bit, and we don't know how, but we are. And so he helps them defeat this robot coming out of the ground, and then they're okay. Once he's defeated, let's go back to the 30th century, and when they get there,
they blow up.
Yeah, they blow up.
And then they just look like fragments, even though they were biological. They somehow look like pieces of robots.
No blood, no nothing. It just they blow up. And we did a clone. We did a cloning technology, but somehow, I mean, this is a level 5. I mean, this is level 5 intelligence by Brainiac, right? He doesn't have like level of intelligence. Right.
Yeah. And they have a vault keeping the genetic material.
Yeah, they have the genetic material.
So that they can eventually clone everybody.
Yeah. But there's a flaw in that after I forgot how many hours they just blow up.
48 hours they blow up.
Besides, this one, it bothers me in different level too, not just like.
Yes, it's very disturbed. This one disturbed me a lot.
It's like are you willing to create a clone of superheroes and then another thing they are testing is will they sacrifice themselves? It's like will they sacrifice themselves with their lives? Is one of their tests. It's like
they mentioned that they said in the future, hopefully, when a Legionnaire dies, he'll just be replaced by the clone.
Right.
Yeah,
like. No big deal,
But
hello, you lucky clone! You get to sacrifice your life.
Yeah, you have to sacrifice. You got to be willing to continuously sacrifice. It's like if you don't.
The morality of this is very dicey.
Dicey, to say the least. Yeah.
It's also they can have their what do you call it? Their trick story where they misguide you towards thinking they're ghosts and then thinking they're alive and then they're not. Yeah. So they're more concerned with their plot than the meaning of their science fiction.
Yeah, and these clones have 2 days to live, basically, right? They have 2 days to live, and they put them through this test.
Right.
Yeah, but again, the morality here, like we were speaking before, is flaccid, to say the least.
Right.
All right.
And
I don't think the writer stopped to think about it. Basically,
no, I don't think so.
They're willing to test that theory again for next life form. That's.
There's a backup called "Welcome Home, Daughter, Die."
Yeah, I love the monster in this backup.
Isn't that a fabulous monster?
Okay, is this a Green Girl or is this what's this?
Projectra, Princess Projectra.
Princess Projectra.
Okay,
who lives on a medieval planet. But the whole thing, again, it's a twist. The whole thing, to give it away, they're not actually on her planet. Nope. She projected it herself. I forget what caused her to hallucinate and create a projection.
Didn't she have a fever, Rigel fever or something? And
she had some kind of fever. You're right.
Fever, yeah, which is going to come up again, dream. By the way. But
yeah.
So Karate Kid.
I like her costume design too. Talk about the sexy characters.
The bare midriff, and the plunging neckline.
I got to work on getting my wife to get one of those.
Yeah, I don't think mine will go for that one.
That's my running joke. My wife will never go for any of these things.
I know that.
But I can dream.
We're going to show Cockrum started with Saturn Girl and the, more bikini-ish look, but there's a lot of very skimpy outfits here.
Yeah. And I feel like Grell even takes the Cockrum designs and makes them skimpier,
smaller,
even if he doesn't change the design.
Yeah. Yeah. That Laurel Kent one, I mean, that's like dental floss that she's wearing. We'll talk about that later. Anyway.
And Superboy goes, I don't know why I'm attracted to this woman.
Yeah. Right. Well, we'll talk about that later. Karate Kid comes in because he suspects, because of the way she was talking, that she was not right. So he comes in and convinces her this is not real. Your powers are creating it. So it's all an illusion. All right.
Skimpy is good.
Who wants to tackle this one?
Well, this was one of my favorites.
I'm with you, 100%.
And I thought the Grell art, like I felt like he was really getting into his groove here.
I love that.
Basically there was a war 200 years ago, and wow, yeah, like that's really cool artwork there.
Yeah.
Really, really cool. So this soldier who had thrown himself on a grenade got preserved.
That's coming up. That's
Oh, that's a different one.
210.
That's
Oh, sorry, I have the wrong one.
In one.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, this is the one where the science police officer lets Universal get away.
To me, this is conflict of interest. He should have excluded himself from being in this case.
Correct, but again, morality here is different in the future.
Well, it should be better than ours.
So we find out that Universal is a villain. Super hypnotism. Essentially, if you see him, you're under his thrall, right? And he spared the life of the science officer when they were looking for him before, and now he's pretending that he's trying to track him down.
Right.
And when they find him, he actually helps him escape from the Legion. The Legion had him dead to rights. So now they're even. And so now he's going after him for sure, for real, And eventually he does come up and with the help of the Legion does.
This is a 207.
Yeah.
No, wait. This is a 2.
Yeah, it's 207.
207, yeah, this is 207, yeah.
207, yeah.
A really great cover on this
one. Jay. Yeah, I love the character design. Mike Grell did an excellent job on this one.
Yeah. I mean, the Grell art in here, I mean, it's so futuristic. I mean,
let me see if I can share that art one.
It's just so dynamic. For the time, it was heads and shoulders. Maybe Neil Adams, you can say, was and maybe Aparo had that kind of really tight pencils, but Grell was in that mix,
Was Aparo? He and Aparo might have just been starting at the same time. I'm not sure.
I think Aparo's a little bit, because I believe he did something in the earlier 70s, late 60s.
Phantom Stranger, maybe.
Look at that.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. He might have started around 69, 70.
Yeah, little before, but they were contemporaries. Yeah. That he does a lot of those kinds of art inside of other structures, which is fabulous stuff, especially in the Treasury.
There's the backhand I was telling you guys about. They do a lot of backhand.
There it is, backhand slap.
There's a lot of backhand.
A lot of that. Yeah, Grell has certain techniques that he does over and over, and that's one. The kind of curvature of the flying beings is another, and also like upward thrusts are all over the place.
Did I mention that he borrowed quite a bit from Star Trek?
Yeah, see that
all the
The cruiser?
technology, transport
I-
technology.
That might have been Cockrum design, though. I don't remember who
I think it
designed
was
that
Cockrum
cruiser.
design, but the way he draw these things, you see this right here? You see that little
The dome,
the,
yeah, the
dome,
glistening,
and then
yeah,
little shine, and then goes on.
yeah.
That makes it really look slick. I mean,
You're right. You're right.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's something I noticed that he did. He did it, not Cockrum, but
See, that's
right
the
here.
backup. That's the backup there
Yeah,
with
Yeah.
Lightning Lad.
yeah,
It's almost
And,
like a interstitial moment in their lives rather than a big adventure
correct.
where Lightning Lad and what is it, Lightning Lord, her
Lightning
brothers
Lord
meet
versus
up
Lightning Lad.
on the
So this
anniversary
is
of their parents'
advertising
death.
for the future, right?
Yeah, they're brothers, and Lightning Lord is one of the members of the Legion of Supervillains, but they sort of there's a detente here because it's the memorial, it's the anniversary of their parents' death.
Right.
So this is the one time that they're not going to fight it out. But Lightning Lad says, the next time I see you, all kid gloves are off.
Right.
But it's
Yeah.
it's cool when you think about it, right? That the respect and the honor of your parents is above even the inner turmoil between the two of them.
All right.
All right.
And is it in the next issue that Lightning Lad and his little group of supervillains shows up?
Yep, that's it right here.
208.
Oh, and I thought it was funny they call them villainaires. Since there's legionnaires, then there's villainaires.
Show that again.
Yeah, they love to do all those kinds of parallels,
Right.
Yeah.
And it all goes back to that early Silver Age where they're almost just like a club of kids making up, little superhero rules and stuff.
Hey, J80, how you doing, buddy? Yeah, this one here, you when you think about when we're talking Nauman, right, about the preposterous things that we have in here, right? And then you look at the Legion of Supervillains, right? I mean, these are like the most sanguine and just dirty and just bloodthirsty, and yet they come together, for a common goal. I mean, just when you think about it, it's preposterous,
Yeah.
But yeah, they want to destroy the Legion, of course. That's their objective, of course. And they come up with this plan that's supposedly foolproof. I think the president is going to receive an award or something. And there's this big trophy, which again, Nauman, you're right. Look at that trophy. It's like a tuning fork kind of thing. Really.
Hold on. Let me see.
Really, I mean, imagine putting that in your trophy case, I mean,
right.
That thing is way over the top, right?
But the trophy is actually the chameleon chief.
Chameleon Chief is the base, yeah.
Oh, he's the base.
He's the base of the trophy. That the part with the jets. How he manages that, I don't know. That's one of the things I was telling you about. Some of the things don't make sense. How did he manage the jets part? Yeah, because looky here. Look at here. See those jets protruding from the bottom there? Right? And then over here, he just comes out of there.
Right.
Yeah. So
he created those things with these, and he created the flight with his flight ring.
Can he turn into energy as well as matter? I mean, that's not really talked about, but anyway.
Right.
So he plants something on there that'll make it blow up at some point. And the president would be killed, and the the building would be destroyed and discredited and all that. But of course, Chameleon Boy actually sees that occur, and he takes the place of Chameleon Chief when they whisk him away in the trash, just like the Star Wars thing where they, when they eliminate the trash, and they get away. Same kind of thing. And then of course so the bomb doesn't go off. There's a huge fight. I mean, there's everybody's fighting everybody here. You can sort of tell there what's going on.
Okay, can you tell me why Karate Kid changes his uniform constantly?
No, not constantly. He only changes it once.
Oh.
We'll talk about that later.
Okay.
And of course, they're captured. They're captured at the end, but of course, they'll get away, of course, at some point. That's just the way it is. But the Legion of Supervillains, I as a kid, I really loved them. I thought that there was a great counterpart there, because you had Lightning Lord, Lightning Lad, you had Nemesis Kid, which came in with Karate Kid. Nemesis Kid his power is that he can counter anybody, any one person, but if there's a group, he can only counter one of them. That kind of his weakness, I guess. You have Radiation Roy.
I was reading some of these letters, and people, these people who answered this letter are right. I mean, if they're telling the truth, they're really being super popular. This particular series was very popular.
Yeah, Howler. We have there's Spider Girl. Yeah, that's the original Spider Girl.
Yeah,
Doesn't do a lot in this issue.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, it says here, deadly beauty who can render her victims helpless by expanding her hair into an ever-tightening web. Sounds like Medusa to me, but
yes, more like Medusa. Yeah,
but whatever.
And she even has red hair.
Yeah.
So as you were talking about this, I'm reminded about the weirdest thing reading these as an adult. There's no irony. There's no camp. There's no wink, wink, nudge, nudge here, even though almost everything going on here, you would be sorely tempted to write it in kind of a campy way. There's no, it's all, we're totally serious, but we don't have any.
No, it's played
we're
straight
not
as an
laughing.
arrow.
We're not making fun of any of this.
Yeah. Later on, there are issues that are a little bit campy, but during this Carrie Bates Jim Shooter run, it's straight as an arrow. Yeah.
Yeah, and I would think it would be so tempting to just sort of camp it up a bit.
Well, I think they tried to change a lot of that Silver Age stuff, because that was campiness back then. So they tried to. This is like,
but maybe it ruins it by not taking it 100% seriously. Let the reader see how silly it is, but don't let it be known within the story that you think. It's
that
silly.
To me, the anti-led story. How would I have approached that would be, in the future, as he was studying the Legionnaires, he saw a picture of himself, right? And he goes, "Hey, why am I in that picture?" Of course, his father tell him, "Don't go back there. You're not supposed to tamper with the time."
Correct.
But at the teenage boy he go back in time, and then he has to solve a problem of Superman not being Superboy not being accepted as a, so he went there because he was curious about his picture, rather than there's a time monitor that shows that there's different timeline somehow this time monitor detects what happens once the time has been fixed. Does time monitor ever show that? So what would have been better if the guy said, "Hey, I'm going to go back there, and because there's a picture of me, and he was just curious, and he's going to go back there and figures out that he has to actually solve a problem before he come back, and that's why he's
solving a mystery. Yeah. That's a good point. All right, so Now, this to me, this is if you've seen my 10, I think I don't know if I did it on the 1011 or if I did it with you with an otaku, but this is one of my very favorite comics right here.
I
A
love that
huge
cover
karate.
design, by the way.
Yeah, look at that. Look at that. I mean, the foreground, the background, the flying debris, everything is great
And
stuff.
lovely project.
Of course,
Princess
lovely Jackie
Protector.
there.
Yeah.
So this is where he changes costume, Namen, right? He has this until he dies in the 80s. Okay. So yeah, what I really love about this story is how clever it is, and it also tells you just the amount of love that Karate Kid has for Projectra. What happens here is that, if you don't mind, guys, Projectra is again sick. I mean, she was sick when she did those illusions, but here she's going to die. I think it's called the pain plague, as I recall. And what it is that you get a fever and you get this intense pain. It's so intense that it kills you. It overwhelms your body. But it only lasts 5 hours, I think it is. So if you can live through those 5 hours, you're fine. All right.
So did I
Which
mention
no
that,
one has ever done.
Nobody has ever.
Did I
No one's
mention,
ever
by
lived
the
through
way,
it yet.
Yeah.
that they borrow quite a bit from Star Trek appears?
Yeah.
Remember that pain lady that absorbs the pain in the Star Trek?
Yeah, correct. Correct. Listen, we can talk about this till the ducks come home. I mean, trust me. So Brainiac is not there, but he remotes in and he's like, listen, the only thing you could do is create this device which will allow you to transfer an hour of pain into your body. And if you can, you can survive 1 hour, you can't survive 2. So there's only 4 Legionnaires there. So they start taking Saturn Girl, Timberwolf, and what happens when Timberwolf, he goes nuts because of all the pain, and he rips up his costume. I'll show you that. That's how he gets the new costume.
Yeah, that's why he has to change it into that costume.
That's how he gets the new costume.
Yeah.
So yeah, see it there. He gets it all ripped up, right?
Yeah.
So Saturn Girl goes next, and they put on this inhibitor so that
because they don't want to face that same problem they face with the
they put that on so she can't like tell them, hey, kill her or kill me because I'm in such pain.
Or kill yourself.
Yeah, kill yourself. So that's, and then the Karate Kid is now she's already gone through an hour, so I guess that's the first hour. Timberwolf got the second one. Saturn Girl got the third. Now the fourth is Karate Kid, right? And Superboy is way off, but he's on his way. Okay.
Yeah, he's traveling faster than the speed of light right now.
But it's going to fast. But it's going to be dicey whether he gets there in time to get the 5th hour.
Yeah.
So Karate Kid, he meditates to take the pain. He has no problem. But the clock ran out, so she's going to die if somebody doesn't take the pain. Superboy's not there yet, so he's about to get the pain thing, and that's going to kill him. And Dual Damsel shows up, knocks him out, and takes the pain, and then splits in 2 to half the pain.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And then they fight each other for a little bit.
They fight each other for a while. Yeah. And then of course Superboy because Superboy got there, but he's invulnerable, so he can't take the pain. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, he was willing to die for his love here.
Yeah.
Really cool story. Just the way it played out was just.
Is this which one is it? This one is what issue is this one?
This is 209.
209. So that's a Jim Shooter story.
I think that might be the return of Jim Shooter.
Might be. Yeah.
I don't know if we had any Jim Shooter before this one.
It was all Kerry Bates until then. He
might have done one of the backups. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Oh, he may have done backup,
but this is Shooter coming back. Yeah. So, everything was stolen from Star Trek, says Jackson Roy Kirk. Right, correct. All right. So
I'm
anybody
amazed
wanna take
Shooter
this?
came back, actually.
He was the writer in Adventure Comics when he was 13.
Right, in
370,
the 60s or
346.
something.
Yeah, he's the one who introduced Karate Kid. Anybody want to take this
So
one?
he's sorry.
Oh yeah,
ahead.
that was a pretty interesting one.
Yeah, go ahead, Damien.
Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. You guys, either I cut out or you guys cut out for a second.
Yeah.
So this is the one I meant. The
Right.
one
Oh, yeah,
about
right,
Soldier that is one of my favorites. I mean, the other one that I confused with it was good too, but in
That's
this
a good
one,
can.
Lightning Lad and Superboy are out practicing using their powers. At first, they make us think that Lightning Lad's trying to kill someone, but he's sending a death bolt at Superboy, who doesn't get hurt at all. But his bolt, or one of his bolts, has smashed into the ground and opened up the grave of this soldier from 200 years before, who was part of an army that was in when there was like a world war, was invading Metropolis. And he threw himself on a grenade and saved his fellow members of the team. It was some kind of special grenade. I forget what they call it. A gamma grenade.
Gamma grenade.
So his body was glowing, and they just buried him right there and left him. And I guess they thought he was completely dead. But Lightning Lad, sorry.
Yeah, Lightning Lad
his
plus
bolt of
gamma ray,
lightning
basically.
must have charged him back up, kind of
Yeah.
like Frankenstein or something.
Yep, exactly.
But he has almost no memory. He just remembers his name is Soldier. And then he sees a sign for Metropolis and remembers he's supposed to attack Metropolis.
Yeah, they were supposed to take over the city back then. Yeah.
Right. So the Legion sees him. I thought this was very creative. He's destroying the city with this incredible weapon, only it's not there. Yep. It's just in his mind. Right. But I guess the gamma stuff has done so much to his mind that he can create anything he imagines, but it's just imaginary. It stays invisible.
The stored energy in his cells can be discharged by his own brain. Thanks. Yeah, I love this one too, Damien. I love the solution too.
And there's a really cool thing where he can even, I guess his weapons are so powerful, or his imaginary weapons are so powerful, he can even defeat Superboy with them.
Yeah.
And they have to like even remove an imaginary bullet from
a knife from Phantom Girl.
Oh, Phantom Girl. Yeah, he even generates a phantom weapon.
So they finally they defeat him by creating the illusion that he has destroyed Metropolis.
Right.
And then someone
plays he's a senior officer.
Right. Someone plays the senior officer. I assume it's Chameleon Boy.
Chameleon Boy.
I read so many in the past 2 days that it is a bit of a blur.
You were cramming, Damien.
And I don't know if they say what happens. Oh, no, he's just dead. After he's achieved his mission, he's truly dead.
Yeah.
Which is kind of tragic. And again, the Marvel fan in me is like, they should have stopped to think about this more. But anyway, it's just.
Well, what do you think they should have done?
I don't know. It's just like in a Fantastic Four or a Spider-Man, there'd be much more reflection of the tragedy of things.
True.
I think.
True. Yeah, it's when his energy ran out, his mission was completed. Boom! He just turned off like a light.
Oh yeah, everybody did their job. Hey, we saved the Metropolis, and that's it. That's it.
But they did do a memorial for him because
they did a memorial for him.
He could sacrifice himself. Again, that even the enemy, even though that was the enemy of the current United Planets, they still memorialized his courage. I thought that was
one thing though. I didn't notice.
Oh right, they do mention in the last panel they're putting up a memorial for him.
Yeah, they do, and what they value in this society, they value sacrifice. They really seem to value sacrifice.
Bravery and courage and sacrifice are highly, highly thought of. That's true.
Yeah. Right. Oh, by the way, another Star Trek copy is that you know how Star Trek has live long and prosper.
Yeah.
Here we have a long live the Legion.
Long live the Legion.
But we'd have to research. Did Long Live the Legion come before Star Trek?
Star
Yeah.
Trek is 1960.
Were they saying that in the early
Oh,
60s?
I don't know.
I don't
Yeah,
remember that.
Okay.
I don't remember that earlier than that, but it could be. It could be.
Yeah.
All right. The backup.
And the backup,
Very
I am
important.
wondering.
Very important story.
I'm wondering if the backup is a retcon on Karate Kid, or if it matches completely with what we already knew about Karate Kid.
I think it matches pretty well, because I've read all his appearances in Adventure Comics.
There's Bruce
And-
Lee right there.
They do retcon that he looks like Bruce Lee.
Well, they didn't. I don't think they mentioned. This is the first time they mentioned that he's half Oriental.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
because his last name was Armor, so that's not.
Okay, I'm gonna bring that copy
Right.
up. I want to show you guys something. I want to show you something.
And in the Legion Who's Who that I have, they
What number
mentioned
is
that
that?
it's his
119?
mother's name.
Yeah.
It's
What issue is that?
110.
110.
210.
210.
Sorry, 210. Yeah, 210.
Yeah.
But well, so I mean, I just remember him. I've read a lot of the Kurt Swan era, and he completely seemed to be a Caucasian in those.
Yes, I agree.
And so I just wondered if this was a bit of a retcon, because it incorporates Bruce Lee, but it also kind of incorporates the story from Shang-Chi, where your father is the supervillain,
Is the villain.
Right,
Exactly.
right.
the
Okay,
Asian
right.
supervillain
Exactly.
who had a European wife, who then conveniently dies. But
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So here's one of the complaint I have about Shang-Chi was every time there was an Asian guy, they put these yucky yellow color skin on them, right?
Yeah.
And the reason I appreciated Karate Kid was never that yucky yellow color. Karate Kid was never that.
Yeah.
Then in this origin story, I'm finding out reason he's not this yucky yellow is because he's half. He's
Right.
and then we find out he's also Bruce Lee.
a month ago, he didn't look like Bruce Lee.
No.
He changed into Bruce Lee in 1 month.
I mean, he
It's
doesn't have
amazing,
brown.
isn't it? Amazing.
I mean, it helped that they turn his hair black in the shadow, but he doesn't have a brown hair, you know. So
Yeah.
So that indicates half.
But this is important because we find out that, again, his father was a criminal, I think Black Dragon, and his sensei killed his father. Okay.
Right.
And
he was raised by his father's killer.
He was raised by his father's killer, and he was never told that by sensei because he thought, hey, if you find out that I killed your father, you know, you're not going to be training with me and you're not going to think well of me.
Is this before Star Wars or after Star Wars? This is before Star Wars, right?
This is before, yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah.
So it's Obi-Wan and Darth Vader.
Yeah, that's true. A little bit different, yeah. But once he takes care of the gang because the gang is still there, even though his organization is still there, and they want to recruit Karate Kid, you know, to be the next, you know, leader or whatever. Yeah. And of course he just wipes the floor with them.
Yeah.
I think there's 6 of them.
So here's what I noticed about this 30th century. Something they didn't copy from Star Trek. In Star Trek, there's no monetary system, right?
Right.
But in this 30th century, there's a bank robber with the cash coming out of the briefcase.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no crypto apparently. Didn't make it into the 30th century.
Yeah, they're still using these cash. You know, no credit cards, no blue collar, white collar theft.
This last little blurb here, I think, shows a lot about the character of Karate Kid, right? Because he says, let me just read it. He says once he confronts the sensei after he has taken care of the Black Dragon organization, he said, "You made me a force for good. That's more important than blood. You are my true father."
Yeah.
So I thought that was very poignant.
Just
because you sire somebody does not make you a father.
Yeah.
Okay,
There's
that's
a little bit of Guardian of the Galaxy in that one too, by the way.
two very different things. Okay, two very different things. All right.
I wonder if the early Karate Kid even had a sensei.
He
I
must
seem to
have,
remember him
because
having been someone who studied every martial art from all around the world.
Oh,
Yeah.
by the way, there's some superpower that they do not mention. Okay.
mhm.
I think in here. Let me see.
Night, Kyle. Take care, buddy. Superpower of who? Of Karate Kid?
Yeah, because one of the things why these guys looking for Karate Kid is that they don't have a black dragon's blood running
Yeah.
through their vein, and he does. So
Yeah.
that's what makes him also special. Karate Kid special, but they don't explain what that is.
Well, but it could be just genetics. They're thinking about genetics, you know.
They just think of him as the heir of the crime
yeah.
syndicate.
In 30th
That's what I
century,
thought,
that's
but I could
way
be
going
wrong.
back, right? I mean,
Yeah. Well, you know, it's the 20th century thoughts about what the 30th century could be. All right, so
and this
you gotta
thing right
always
here,
remember that, Nauman. They're not actually in the 30th century. Okay.
Well, you know, the previous issue had that little boy being a hero for a day.
Yeah.
And they had a transporter malfunction, basically, or they had a problem with the transporter. That Beast was in transporter
The
technology.
Beast was transported in.
Yeah, and now they also have this going through this elaborate tunnel system. Now think about this tunnel system right here, going through all that stuff.
Yeah.
To save just that much of a distance.
Well,
it's pretty hot down there too, I think.
Well, notice it just misses the core.
Yeah, this is cool.
Yeah, but the mantle of the Earth is actually quite hot too.
And it's quite hot, and it's moving.
Yes,
believe.
there's that
I
too.
believe it's moving too. But anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we have a transporter technology. I mean, come on.
Right.
Well, no, I mean, but maybe
they almost never mention the transporter technology.
Yeah, they almost never do, but they do. Okay, but maybe it's expensive. Maybe it's like flying, first class or something, and this is, the bus.
Okay, yeah, okay.
I don't know. Could be.
Is he? Right. Howler Mouse is saying it was called White Crane. Was he called White Crane in this issue? The sensei.
I don't remember what he was called. I know he was a hero, in his prime.
Right.
But I don't remember what he was called.
Mm.
Could be.
Maybe they gave his name in a later issue.
Maybe they gave his name later.
Now, Karate Kid got his own solo series for a while, right?
Correct.
Does his father and all of that come up in that?
I think it does in one story arc. Yeah. I mean, his father he's not there, but they talk about his lineage and all that. Yeah. All right.
I mean, Master is still alive. I mean, on this one.
Yeah. Sensei's still alive. Yeah. All right. This is a cool one. I thought. You remember this one now, man?
Yeah.
Okay. Legionnaires have a code against killing.
Yeah. No
if
killing.
you kill while you're a Legionnaire, you're expelled. Okay.
Right.
Unless you
don't go to prison or anything. You just
unless
get
you're
expelled.
forgiven later on.
Well, you might, but you're expelled first.
Right. Yeah.
So, Element Lad is the last of his kind, of his race.
Right. Okay.
I think they're called Traumites. This guy here, Roxas, something like that, is a space pirate or something, and he wiped out their whole civilization.
Except for him.
Except for him. He got away. Did he get away in a ship or he hid? I forgot which one.
He got away in a ship.
Got away in a ship.
Yeah.
So he recognizes this guy because he was in a prison, right?
Yeah. He helped him put him in prison.
Yeah. But now he escaped and he's hiding out somewhere.
Yeah.
And
he
went to this planet. He went to this planet of criminals, like I don't know, the bar of no return in Marvel.
Is that 211?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where all criminals hang out, and they think they're safe because it's a black kind of sphere space station, I guess. But of course, the
Right, it's supposed to be impossible to find.
Impossible to find unless you look at the stars behind it.
Yeah.
Not
Which any astronomer would do that.
Imagine the amount of money they guys spent. Amount of money they spent on that
painting it black.
On that thing. Yeah. you think they could put a few stars on there?
Okay, first of all, I have a problem with this also. Okay, let me show you why. Okay, this is right here. This is so what it's supposed to do is this thing absorbs the radar signal. You see this pink here?
Yeah.
And then they generate this fake radar signal. Right. Okay. How radar work is you put a signal on it, and when it bounces back.
Yeah.
It bounces back. You read that measurement. That energy is very low, but you can read it. The energy you read is how you determine how far it is, or whether it's moving or not, all that stuff, right? So if this thing absorbs it, then there's no need for this thing to happen right here.
Exactly. That's it. It's gone. Right?
If it is absorbed, then it's undetectable by radar. And also, because it's undetectable by radar, doesn't mean it's not visually.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not visually. Yeah. It's not invisible.
Yeah. No. There's. Listen, there's plot holes here for.
And this guy reminds me of some character from Star Trek too. By the way, this guy right here.
That guy there, yeah. Royally dressed there. Yeah.
And then
so when they raid the planet,
go back and right. Yeah. You didn't
when they raid that planet, he recognizes.
I mean,
yeah, they figure out because of the starscape in the back that hey, that's that's the hideout.
Yeah, so yeah, you could look at it from the back.
Yeah, right there.
From
yeah,
the back side, then you could tell it's a hideout.
Yeah, they're criminals for a reason because they couldn't think of the most obvious thing just looking at it, right?
They're not a criminal. They're freaking scammers. You know,
exactly. Criminal scammers. Exactly. That's a good one. So they go to raid. They raid this, lair, and Element Lad recognizes Roxas, whatever his name is. I don't know how to pronounce it. And he remembers that this is the guy when he was a little kid that killed everybody on his planet. But he gets away. And then Element Lad is like, does he let him get away? I think he lets him get away. Because he wants revenge. They basically
say, well, we've caught most of the people, so that's good enough.
No, he didn't. He saw them, but they found him. I mean, escaping, but I don't think it was on purpose, though.
Not on purpose. Okay.
Yeah.
So they start to question the proprietor of the lair, and he says, did he say where he's going? The only thing he said is it's the last place anybody would look for me.
And
that's where he was hiding out all these years.
And he figures out, he goes, okay, if that's the case, that may be enough, Captain. Thanks. I mean, he figures out exactly where he might be at.
So, of course, he's hiding out on his now dead planet.
Right.
So he goes down there to kill him. And he's just about to when Chemical King slows down the chemical reactions of the gun he has. Now, there's a plot hole here, but I'll get to that in a minute. And it's just a light, and then he slows down his bodily functions to make believe he's dead. And then, supposedly because that way Element Lad will recognize that that's not going to make him feel any better. It's not going to do anything, And then we learn that because he's hiding out there, he's like being haunted by the thousands or millions that he's killed and he's
Right.
just gone insane. He's just tortured soul. So Element Lad said that the ultimate revenge is actually letting him live with that kind of guilt and that kind of regret and that kind of nasty torture that he's going through.
Yeah, he's a demonstration. Every time I see this right here,
Yeah,
I remind me of what's his name, Brandon Lee.
yeah, when the blank that
Yeah.
that was tragic.
Yeah.
But what's incredible, right, is we're talking about Element Lad here.
Right.
Element Lad, all he has to do is think, turn his blood to,
Right.
nitrogen.
You could kill him in so many different ways.
Kill him. Why does he need the gun? I mean, that is a plot device so that they could stop it. If he uses powers, they couldn't stop him.
Right.
Unless they, tackle him.
Well, another problem is he did commit murder. Except it wasn't murder because someone else stopped him from killing
him. It was
him.
attempted murder for sure.
Right. I mean, wouldn't that be he would have killed him if he hadn't been stopped.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a crime. Somehow if in these, because they're superheroes, even though they cross that boundary, right? Because you cross that boundary, right? Where you're supposed to, I mean, I understand that boundary is very thin, that line is very thin, but once you cross it, there's no return. Somehow they are giving people opportunity to return. Oh yeah, it's okay. I mean, the final result is he didn't die, right? I mean,
yeah, he didn't die. That was.
But he did cross that line.
Yeah, but the code doesn't say you get expelled if you attempt murder. It says if you commit murder. So that's a difference.
Yeah.
Here's my copy that's actually signed by Mike Grell.
Oh, really?
Oh, sweet.
hold on.
Did you meet Mike in person?
No, it was sent to me by J Hood Creative, a prize I won some years back.
Oh, that's very cool.
So you see how it's in a nice conspicuous place there. Inconspicuous, I'm sorry.
In next Baltimore Con, I'm gonna go. I think Mike Grell is gonna be there again.
Yeah.
Mike Grell will be.
What Legion book should I take him? What Legion book should I take him?
That's up to you. Your favorite, whatever it is.
Well, it might be that.
Mike Grell will be at a Washington State Summer Con in June if you're around Seattle then.
Oh, really? Another con?
And I'm told that's a smaller, more relaxed con where you can have more time to talk to people.
Yeah, I talked to him in Toledo last year. And there was nobody around him. I mean, literally, I could have been there for, forever, but I was like hunting comics, so I only spot.
I was at Baltimore Con. I talked to him with his wife. He was there with his wife.
Oh, he wasn't there with his wife in Toledo, I don't think. At least not when I saw him. All right, who wants to take this one? This is cool.
Is that they want to replace the heroes with the same power? Okay, that was another thing. I don't. Why does it have to be like a individual? I mean, why can't they? I mean, Superboy.
That's part of their charter.
The same power, right?
Yeah, that's part of their charter. That it has to have a.
They make an exception for Superboy and Supergirl, but no one else.
Exception. Yeah.
But it's kind of like kids' rules to a club, to a degree.
Exactly.
Not very harsh. I mean,
well, and we're kind of lower on time, so I could just kind of quickly say they defeat their counterparts. These rejects defeat their counterparts in battle, but then they get stopped by Superboy, and the Legionnaires that were being challenged say, let's do this fight again tomorrow. And then they have the fight again, and they defeat all these bitter rejects by using teamwork.
Right.
And so that's what makes them Legionnaires versus
even though individually
this triggers me. I feel like these are the popular kids rejecting other kids, and I feel bad for all the
it is. It's sort of like a high school meet me back in the gym brawl.
Right. Yeah. It's like the varsity team versus the JV or something.
JV.
Well, but individually they are more talented than the
yes. Correct. They're more powerful.
Right. They're more powerful.
Speaking. Yeah. Because Calorie Queen, Do you like that name? Calorie Queen. I mean,
She can eat more than Matter Boy or Matter Eater Lad.
Matter Eater. By the way, Matter Eater Lad in this is actually recruited into the government of his homeworld.
Oh yeah, that was really funny.
Yeah,
that was a little running subplot. They were like,
right.
You'd think that they were after him for some kind of criminal offense or something, but it was just
exactly
for that.
And then,
but you're
Calorie Queen. He recommends Calorie King.
He recommended Calorie Queen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the difference being that Matter Eater Lad, when he eats stuff, he just digests it, right? But she converts it into energy, and she gets stronger in the whole bit. So.
Right.
Yeah, Calorie Queen. I'll never forget that name. I mean, that's
Calorie Queen.
That was one where the editor and the editor's office, you're like, can you come up with something better than that? Yeah.
One of my I always want more Matter Eater Lad. I guess because I want it to be campy.
Yeah, that would be campy.
They always keep Matter Eater Lad kind of in the background.
But name by itself, isn't that campy? All these names, they got the
names are
lad, something less. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I remember. I don't know if I remember creating my own comic book and coming out with these names like Flame Kid and I mean.
Yeah,
name by itself is to me pretty campy.
Yeah, the names themselves are campy. You're right about that. Look at the backup here, guys. Talk about skimpy outfits. Look at Night Girl here.
Oh wait, hold on. Let me see.
I mean,
where'd my mouse go?
Literally, I have rubber bands thicker than this thing here.
I mean, she must have to glue it on, basically.
Oh, that dress used again. You know that dress being used again later on, right?
Yeah, and Laurel Kent, I think, wears something similar.
Yeah.
So this is it also the costume of someone in Warlord, kind of?
Yeah.
Yeah, Grell liked those skimpy costumes. Yeah,
on men and women.
By the way, did you know that Charles Bronson survived into the 30th century? Look at that.
Yeah, look at
that was bizarre. That seems so random.
That's a story about Night Girl.
And how they treat the girls in these books. I mean, in these stories. These girls get slapped by guys, and then the girl gets bitched in that one. I don't want to watch this movie. I'm thinking about my ex-girlfriend right now, so I don't watch the movie with you.
Yep. Yeah, it's one of those things where at least they're attempting to say, hey, these are independently minded women who have pride in the whole bit, but the way they're portrayed, as far as the results, sometimes are iffy.
Yeah.
All right. 213.
Yeah. Another mind
I
trick.
remember this being a good one.
This is a good. This is the one that I think has a preposterous panel. I'll show you in a bit. But anyway.
And a crazy idea of where the villain lives.
Yeah, right. I mean, this has two really preposterous things to me, but anybody want to talk about this one? I've been talking too much, so
yeah, let Sleepy do it. Sleepy, I'll provide the graphic. Let me see if I
okay, well, like I said, I'm struggling to sort them all out in my mind, having read so many at once.
This is the thief.
But the greatest burglar in the universe gets into the Legion's citadel. That's the different one, or am I looking at the wrong one?
Oh wait,
213.
213. Let me see. I skipped it. My eyesight is horrible.
So's mine.
Huh? There, 213.
Imagine Damien after reading all these issues in 2 days.
Right, on all this paper that's kind of gone blurry. Some of it.
So
one of these, I can't remember which one, was like the perfect smelling old comic of all time. But
oh, that's great right there. Yeah.
Some of these others were very bad copies. So there's this guy, he just has a regular name, Ben Pears, and he's the greatest burglar in the galaxy. And he's gotten bored, so he wants to challenge the Legion. that he's letting them know that he's going to steal this. Is it called the Miracle Machine?
Correct. Miracle Machine.
The Miracle Machine, which you can use to create any thought into reality. But humanity isn't advanced enough yet to use it. Or
doesn't that remind you of a Forbidden Planet?
That's true. I hadn't thought about that, but yeah, it's like the Forbidden Planet. But you could accidentally destroy the entire universe, not just wreak havoc on one planet.
Right.
With this machine,
and
so it's in this invulnerable box, and they practice. I'm going to get this wrong. They practice kind of breaking into it and see you can't break into it, but
they try to destroy it.
They try to destroy it first. Yeah. Look at all these people trying to destroy it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember now. He steals their clock, but doesn't steal the box.
No, that's right.
Yeah,
there's some kind of fake out. And they track him down into a sector that has almost no habitable planets in it, but there's a space dragon, a mineral-eating space beast, a galactosaur.
And I love that name, galactosaur.
I think you can see it in that panel there. His on the next page, his outfit, his hideout is strapped onto the jaw, the inner jaw of the galactosaur, so that he lives inside the mouth of this space dragon.
There it is.
Clever hiding place.
Very clever.
They figured it out.
They're very clever. Yeah,
Ultra Boy freaks out. What is it that he has a fear of?
Because he was swallowed by a monster before. Yeah.
Right. So he goes kind of insane.
There's the insane look right there. Yeah, he also got swarmed by some kind of a space monster.
That's kind of Starlin-esque right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah. Or maybe Perez. I could imagine George Perez doing that too.
Yep.
He goes kind of insane, which botches things up. But then Superman wishes he could get his hands on that dirty, rotten scoundrel Perez. And then he just shows up inside the hideout that's inside the mouth of the space soar. And
well, he actually appeared. The guy appears in his hand.
Yeah, he appears back at the Citadel.
Yeah.
Oh, it's back. It's the reverse. Okay, I thought Superboy appeared there.
No, he's a Superboy. I wish the guy is here. I mean, I wish I have him, and he appears in his hand.
So Superboy, Ultra Boy makes up for his bad behavior by saving everybody and risking his life.
He overcomes his fear and saves the crew from.
Right. But he only can use one power at a time, so he has super strength, but he's vulnerable to the vacuum.
Yeah, vulnerable to the space environment.
But I guess they managed to get away fast enough before the exposure to space kills him.
Yes, Superboy comes in and swoops him out of there. So there's two things here.
And so then we learn. That's where we learn that the Miracle Machine allowed Superboy to save the day, and then they discuss shouldn't they use the machine to
that's right,
to do other things.
And this is the Brainiac's answer.
Brainiac says no, it would make us lazy. I would think we could also say we might make a mistake and destroy the universe.
That's another thing. Just a random thought would have
bring out the wrong generation, you know.
So there's two things, guys. Look at this panel here and tell me what's wrong with this. This one here.
No, hold on. Let me make you bigger.
All right. The one
you're talking about
that bottom one right there, where Ultra Boy is holding open the jaw. And look what's over here on this side. He's about 6 feet tall, right?
Well, yes.
Oh, and
the
he's
whole
bigger than the ship.
Is in the jaw on this side.
That's a very good point.
He
should be teeny tiny.
He cannot just go bigger.
That's not one of his powers, as far as I know.
I mean, did Shrinking Violet shrink the ship or something? I mean,
that would have been clever.
another
Maybe
thing.
it's a perspective thing. Maybe it's a perspective thing.
But it would be, except that the teeth are in between the ship. There's no other way you can
Right.
say it.
Yeah, Jay.
Yeah.
And those
Unless his
teeth
jaw
are
opens, like here and over here. Forget it.
right. And those teeth are clearly supposed to be as big as a house.
As a house. Yeah.
Yeah, right,
Exactly.
right.
So
Yeah.
it's wrong either way. And then remember he said like he wished that he had his hands on him and it happened, right? So before on page 8, okay, where Superboy is looking at them from afar, right? He says this. He says, "Wish I could have gone with them."
Right. And he's sitting right on the
But he's
miracle
sitting right
machine.
there. He didn't go. He should have been there,
The thing is smart enough where you make that kind of wish and you cannot make a wish again. So
Oh, okay, gotcha.
he will give you only wish. He only grant you wish that's beneficial to you.
Right, you got it. Hey, take it easy, J80.
The ad on the back is the creepiest face I've seen in comics.
The shrunken head, yeah.
And I see the signature. It's drawn by Mort Drucker.
Mort Drucker,
Anyway,
wow.
that's-
Talk about a blast
yeah,
from the
he-
past there.
Yeah. From Mad Magazine fame.
Yeah, that magazine.
What number are we at?
214. Yeah, let's speed it up here, guys. Already 11.
It's getting late and we've
Yeah.
Yeah, old man bedtime is approaching here.
Sorry
well,
about
the very quick summary is they have to deal with us rescuing a spoiled brat
that. Oh yeah.
who doesn't care if he ruins things because he expects life to go his way no matter what. And he almost gets killed, and then it's his father's technology. What is it? A planet entirely of robots and
Yeah,
making
planet
technology.
is just manufacturing planet.
The manufacturing
a
factory
giant
planet. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
A whole
Yeah.
planet that's a
All
factory, but
automated.
it's been
Oh, yeah,
turned
this is more of a
dangerous
forbidden
because
planet.
because a disgruntled employee.
Yeah, he wanted to rule all those robots himself.
Yeah, he wanted his position back,
Yeah.
but they didn't need
Yeah.
him because it's all automated, and he was salty about it. So
It's
Took
a
over
story about
the
us.
robots or
our
whatever.
jobs getting automated out, and we're losing our jobs. We're going to be bitter about that, right?
yeah, I mean that's portent of the future there, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that was an okay story, I guess. Then the backup here, real quick, Shrinking Violet. Again, they sort of tried to focus on different Legionnaires. Remember, we had Karate Kid, Timberwolf,
Right.
Prince of Projectora. Here, Shrinking Violet. She has a fear of, she has like this dream where she's going to get crushed by this animal, so she doesn't want to shrink. She doesn't want to use her powers.
Yeah.
So Brainiac 5 takes her to this planet where there are giants. They were giants, but now they're wiped out. And when she wakes up, she thinks she's shrunk.
I love the dreamer. It's called Dream Scanner technology. There's Dream
Scanner. Yeah, you can tell what they're
Scanner.
dreaming. Yeah.
Yeah, you could actually see a video of what people are dreaming. Is
dreaming,
that a cool technology?
Yeah, that's
That
good
one
stuff.
doesn't come from Star Trek. They made that up themselves, probably.
But she figures out she's attacked by this robotic, pig or dog or whatever that was still around. It's like a sentinel. But she figures out when she falls off the table that the air currents don't slow her down like she would if she was small, so that she knew she was normal sized.
Well, aren't they on different planet? Aren't they on different planet to begin with?
Yep, different planet. Yeah.
They have the same kind of gravity? I mean,
well, you tell me, Mr. Engineer. Does that hold water? I mean, it's the smaller.
That's how she figures out she hasn't been shrunk. Because when she falls.
What I'm saying is that Mars.
It's the same gravity as Earth.
Yeah, it's the same gravity as Earth. It's Mars gravity. I mean, how she figures out that, well, okay.
They've gone to planetoids, asteroids. The gravity is always the same wherever.
It's always the same. Yeah, exactly.
The gravity is the same inside the mouth of a space dinosaur.
Exactly.
All right, let's go to the next one.
Since the 21st century, there's been a universal gravitation field that covers the galaxy.
There you go. Damien's figured it out, man.
I like this one too. I like this story.
All right,
too.
you take it now, man.
This is what is it?
215.
215. Yeah.
215. So that's oh yeah. This one has a
Final eclipse of Sunboy.
intra warp adapter, phantom energy burst, intangible wavelength. This has all kind of cool stuff in there. But isn't this where they're at the Phantom Girl's planet, and the brother is
Bejittle.
Huh?
They're in Bejittle.
Easy to pronounce.
Let me see if I can show the
Right there, Bejittle.
Bejittle. Okay.
Which is in the same space as Earth is, but in a
Correct.
different dimension.
Can I buy a vowel?
So I did not know that before.
It's all consonants. Can I buy a vowel,
That
please?
brother's name, by the way. How do you pronounce that brother's name, by the way? The Phantom Girl's brother.
Oh, the Phantom brother.
PMYK or something. I don't.
I don't know. What's his name?
Gimya.
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 Hey, at
Gimya.
least there's a vowel in there.
Yeah. Well, I love saying Phantom Girl's real name, Tinya Wazo.
Wazo.
It sounds like an insult to me. Tinya Wazo.
Go ahead. What else is there?
Well, she's going to testify against this gangster crime boss or something on her own planet, and his assassins are trying to kill her, Phantom Girl.
Mm-hmm.
So she can't testify. One of the assassins actually kills a guy on Bejittle as he turns into a phantom, because apparently the weapon affects phantoms. In other words, it's on the same wavelength.
Right.
So the way she defeats him is by turning into normal, like solid, and the phantom bullets go right through her.
Right.
So she goes back to Earth. They actually have to go out of orbit and then change.
By the way, the
frequency to go
Phantom
back to
planet
Earth.
is aligned with the Earth, except they're on different dimension.
Different dimension.
You're not actually traveling through space, whether you're traveling through dimension.
Correct, but you have to go outside of the planet to change dimensions. Otherwise, I guess you would be phasing, through matter or whatever.
Yeah, I thought it was something special that the ship could do to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something.
It has a trans-dimensional drive or something.
It's called, what is it called? Intro warp adapter.
Intro warp adapter. There you go.
Intro warp adapter.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot what the.
It's
babble
completely
was.
scientifically accurate.
I'm sure. Absolutely. And when they get
Invented
there,
by Carl Sagan.
when they get there, Sunboy is eclipsed, and he's like going crazy. I mean, he's like attacking Legionnaires and the whole bit.
Yeah.
So he's eventually subdued, and they surmise that a phantom, Brainiac 5, surmises that a phantom took possession of
One
Sunboy
of the
while he was
Phantom
on the planet.
assassin took a possession
One of the assassins, right?
Right.
And so he's trapped in there.
Yeah, but he can come out.
Right. So, and he can't come out right now. So they have him on this
Bed
platform bed. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Phantom Girl and a lot of the Legionnaires are around him, and you see this hand reaching
Coming out of another body.
Yeah, out of another body for the gun that I think Brainiac 5 has. And when that happens, a Phantom comes out of Sunboy and another Phantom, and they start fighting.
Yeah, so two Phantom citizens. One's an assassin, one's a brother of a Phantom Girl, and they fight. And it turns out that the twist on this story is that the Sunboy's Phantom man is the good guy, her brother.
Her brother. Yeah.
Right.
And the assassin was an element lad.
Right. Yeah.
Waiting for his time to strike.
Yeah. So
but
these Phantom people could actually take over your body.
Yeah, they can hide in there.
Yeah, that could hide in your body, and the spaceship will scan your body and
Yeah, they
pass you
can
through
tell.
because they don't
Yeah.
detect the phantom.
Yeah.
They need to
The-
change
the-
that spaceship monitoring system.
Yeah, they should change it. You're right. They need a better monitoring system. Yeah. And the only reason he was able to escape Sunboy at that point was that seeing his sister's life in danger gave him the willpower and the adrenaline to escape Sunboy's corona or aura or whatever it is.
Right.
Pretty cool little story. But again, everything is a misdirection, you know.
Right. It's like you expect the bad guy to be on Sunboy, but it was just the nature of Sunboy and how he reacts to
right.
the phantom.
Because of the nature of the way he got his powers, right?
Yeah.
Is this the
Talk
first
about that one,
appearance
Damien.
of this
That's an
sexy
interesting
outfit?
one.
Oh yeah.
Is this the first appearance of that outfit?
Yep. That is first appearance of that outfit.
This is a cool one, I guess, where Cosmic Boy kind of, I guess, for tradition or religious reasons, one day a year can't use his magnetic power. I think of it as like, you know, people fasting or something for a religious purpose.
Catholics with Good Friday, they don't eat meat.
Right. Or Ramadan for
Ramadan,
Muslims
right.
or what have you. So he just cannot use, it's his faith. He has to stick with his faith and not use his magnetic power. But everyone else has been trapped in an ambush, and he's the only one who can go save them. But he won't use his power, but he goes anyway, and just fights. I guess he has his flight ring at least, and he fights the bad guys, and then he cleverly, we find out later how he did it. They think he used his magnetism to move this metal thing and smash Ultra Boy's prison, but actually he stuck his flight ring in that metal thing and got it to smash Ultra Boy's prison. And then Ultra Boy can free everyone else. And then, of course, they can defeat the bad guys. I like ones where people don't use their superpowers and win anyway. That's more proof that they're a real hero, despite their weird costume.
Yeah, agreed.
But and this one involves what's her called? The Emerald Princess? No, the
Emerald Empress.
Emerald Empress. She's actually one of my. I should remember her name because she's one of my favorite villains.
Is that the one where you're showing off the first time? No, that's not that one, right?
She's kind of fun.
Yeah, and they make a deal with her.
I think she's one of Jim Shooter's creations.
Yes, Fatal Five, one of the Fatal Five. And they make a deal with her because Cosmic Boy is mortally wounded. He's going to die.
Okay, here's where I have a problem with some of this stuff here.
Transporter technology.
Transporter.
No.
Another slap.
Bitch slap.
Yep.
Wait.
Sorry.
Come on, man. Why are you slapping? I mean, you shouldn't slap a
lot of slapping going on here.
You shouldn't get physical, right? Is it because
especially because they're just friends, right? I mean,
yeah, they are friends. They've been known each
they're
other.
Not
for
enemies
a long
at this
time.
point. They're just having an argument.
Yeah.
But
she's calling him a coward, essentially.
Yeah, but
Right.
physical altercation. I mean,
could have been an emotional outburst on his part. You know, it happens.
I guess
People
that wasn't looked down upon as much back then as now.
Well, I guess not. I mean, it still was in a sense, but I don't know.
Usually, it would kind of end a friendship if you slap somebody.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a lot stronger than them.
That's a hard line in the sand there. Yeah. Okay.
And then Ultra Boy almost seems dead, but then he isn't. His
Cosmic Boy.
Oh, Cosmic Boy. Sorry.
Yeah, they make a deal with Emerald Empress. They'll let her go if she can cure him because he's about to die. And they're like, "Don't do it. She's gonna, she's not gonna keep her into the bargain, but she does because she respects the courage and that he had. They're villainous. They still have some kind of level of respect, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. Next is first appearance of Tyrock. We haven't had an introduction of a new I mean, we've had like those rejects and things, but not of a new
Is he
Legionnaire.
like a first black superhero at the time?
No, I mean, Luke Cage was out before this.
Oh, okay.
The
And so was
Falcon, Luke Cage, Black
Falcon.
Panther, probably Black Lightning came out
Black
before
Lightning
this.
around the same time. Yeah, you're right. Look, great panel here, though, guys. Let me see. There's you know, one of those things that the detail of Mike Grell, right, and the layout here is so cool. I mean, look at this here.
Yeah, I love that
Just
layout.
fabulous stuff here. Notice the curl on the legs there, guys, right?
Oh yeah.
We were talking about that. Yeah.
A lot of them are ballerinas.
Yeah. Nope.
Or
Everybody's
gymnasts.
swooped, you know.
Gymnasts, you know,
They have this curvature to them.
Yeah.
But fabulous. Look at the detail on the face there, and the chains, and then how he breaks the wall here in a sense, but just barely, because everything else is in a separate panel. See, so really cool stuff. Really cool stuff.
He has an odd power that he has these weird shouts or screams.
Yeah, it's
that allow him
ill-defined,
to
really.
warp.
Yeah.
In a later issue, they say it allows him to warp reality.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But
Really?
it's not so clear here that that's what he's
No,
doing. He
here
even can teleport.
He
It
could
seems
teleport
rather
using the
unlimited.
sound. Yeah.
Yeah, he should be super powerful, because it doesn't seem like there's anything he can't do. Teleport, destroy. He can even like detect things by his voice.
Is it echo detection? Is that an echo detection?
Yeah, I mean, all kinds of stuff. You know,
Yeah.
like when he finds those bombs. That's later on.
Yeah.
But he comes from a.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's somewhat disturbing that on this future Earth, most Black people live on an island separate from everybody else.
Well, I mean, this particular group of people live on.
Yeah, I don't think it's most. I think it's this particular.
I took it to be most Black people.
I don't think so, because they do show up here and there.
Okay.
Yeah,
but this definitely talks about race relations and
and they
biases.
They
and
feel
all
like
that.
they were ignored. Not when they asked for help, they didn't get help.
Yeah.
So that was really odd. I don't know. It's sort of like nowadays they will call it, "Oh, you pushing that woke mentality on us," kind of thing. It's bit of a pretty pushy, you know. It's a little blunt.
Right. It's sort of reverse. I mean, you know, but he's a little jaded, you know, thinking that when they had troubles that the Legion did, you know, they weren't on the planet or whatever. Like, what are they supposed to do if they're not there? You know what I mean? But, you know, eventually it all works out, and he does join the Legion at the end there.
Yeah. And on top of that, this one has a dual damsel story.
Yeah. Isn't that she's no longer a Legionnaire because she married Bouncing Boy in issue 200.
No, that's one thing I like about these stories, because you can cover all hero stuff. You can cover all. Yeah. They cover their regular, you know, life stories kind of stuff. What happens? They go on vacation, and you know, something happens, and they, you know, solve it different ways, and their power come to effect, taking care of these criminals without being a superhero, right? You know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they essentially take care of some bullies, and Bouncing Boy uses his he no longer can bounce, but he still knows trajectories. So they're in this court, and he throws this ball, and it beans all the guys, you know, from ricocheting. So.
Right.
Yeah, I like this where they're being a little more, like Damien said, they don't use the superpower, but they have the mentality of a hero. They have that.
Yeah,
you know, they have the solution.
Yeah, a lot of these do that. A lot of these don't, or they use their powers, but really that's not the gist of how they accomplish the objective.
Yeah, so a lot of what they're making point about is that, hey, they became a hero because not just because of their power, but all the ingenuity behind them, or morality, ethics, and whatever is behind them, right?
Yeah, the powers don't make the superhero here.
I'm gonna have to go.
Okay.
I'm sad to not
Well,
go the
well,
whole journey with you guys, but I had told my family I'd hang out with them before bedtime.
oh yeah,
So
okay. It's pretty
I'll
late.
talk to you
I didn't
guys.
expect this long, but appreciate you.
It's a lot of comics.
It's a lot of comics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Damien.
All
We'll
right,
talk
Damien,
to you
take care,
later.
buddy.
Okay.
All right,
Good night.
we'll go through this real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, without Damien here, he has such great input, right?
Yeah.
So Mike Grell went to 224. This story here is interesting because this warlord guy, not warlord like the Grell warlord, right? But the 30th century villainous one.
Yeah, he self-proclaimed Sun Tzu, basically, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you would know about that, right? Exactly. And he matches wits with Brainiac 5. Yeah. And he takes over the communications, and he essentially sinks himself because he's trying to trap them to come forward and be shot to pieces, but he didn't figure that they would be just so tenacious and so strong, really. And he
determined, determined.
Yeah, they just overwhelm him. They just overwhelm him.
Yeah, and then he trapped himself in a ship.
That's right. That's right. That he this kind of Star Trekky stuff here too, right now, because he injures, or he when they're fighting in space, he's shooting at the Legion cruiser and damages it so that the reactor is overloading, but it's slow.
All that he did it himself, He did everything
himself. But it's slow. But so he wants the ship because he thinks it's advanced and all this stuff. So at the end, when it's obvious he's going to be defeated, he goes into the Legion ship, which they had just gotten out.
Yeah.
And he didn't know that he saved them because it blew up.
He ended up saving them and trapping himself into a ship.
Trapping himself inside. Yeah. Yeah. That's karma right there,
yeah,
right?
Karma right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're so brilliant, you outsmart yourself, right?
Exactly. That's exactly right. He outsmarted himself. Then we have this one, which we mentioned, right? The Laurel Kent one.
Oh, Laurel Kent stuff. That was pretty creepy.
Yeah.
So Superboy sees a girl.
Does that outfit look familiar?
Yeah. That's that same outfit, right?
Pretty similar. The Black Girl one had all the way down to the front. This one kind of goes to the side.
So Superboy is sort of like she's very attractive, and he's showing off. It's very unlike a Clark Kent to show off like that, right?
Yeah.
He's putting one hand on her to stop the thing,
Right there. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's showing off. He's being, trying to be pretty impressive to the girl. She's attracted to him too. And it turns out she's a tryout for the Legionnaires, and she has some superpower because she is a great granddaughter of
him, of
Superboy and Lois Lane.
And Lois Lane. Well,
yeah,
you would think, right?
Yeah. But then they say, well, this is the girl that you're going to marry, but you'll forget about it because anything that related to your future will be forgotten. Because Brainiac designed a filter system when he travels back and forth. Yeah.
And when he gets back, he forgets. He's like, "Oh, what was that? I was trying to remember. I forgot."
Does he remember the goal? Does he remember the goal?
Nope, sure doesn't.
Okay, what's the next?
All right.
one?
Yeah.
That's a cool one.
Yeah, this is a cool one.
Yeah, I love that character design. That character design. Right
Zardoz or something,
Yeah.
Right? Zardoz. Yeah. And of course, this is the bicentennial banner.
Yeah. So this one is where Tarak is being initiated. I mean, he passed all the tests, right? But this guy comes in and defeats a whole bunch of Legionnaires. Supposedly he has their all the gene. He stole their gene uh, information, so he knows what their powers are. He knows their
Right.
weakness, and
It
so
turns it against them. Yeah.
he used them against them. And he has a couple encounters with them, and then later on, prior to this, there's a whole bunch of rejects, Legionnaire rejects going out of the building,
Right.
and one of the guy think he deserved to be a not reject, right? He put
Yeah.
up himself above that, and he's upset that Tarak is the one who's getting accepted, and
Yep.
he doesn't have the chance, right? That's a little
That's the
foretelling, right?
precursor to this.
Yeah, and so this guy comes along and he beats up a whole bunch of Legionnaires, and Talax is shown that this guy has their gene information and all that, except Tarak because he is new to the
Who
Legion.
knew? Right.
So so Legion is relying on him to come up with a solution to counter this guy. Well, it turns out these are suits made up by Legionnaires to test Tarak, the last minute test, right?
Yep.
And of course he passed the test. He come up clever ways to counter him, but the the bad guy at the end beginning, well, he figures out this suit existed, so he puts the suit on and try to defeat the
Yeah, he was hiding out. He was hiding out in the headquarters, observing all this.
Yeah, and so now he's saying, "Hey, I got this suit on. Now I have the multiple power, and I'm challenging you." And of course, Tarak somehow beats him too, right?
Yeah.
So
because absorbency boy.
Yeah, and
he absorbs residual powers left on objects.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? I can see why they would reject him. Because
there's one girl that tried. This is her second trial. Her trial first trial she didn't pass. I mean, her thing is where she put plague. What was her name? Plague something.
Infectious lass.
Infectious lass.
Yeah, she makes the guy sick. He asks her out, and then Quake Kid asks her out, and then he's like, "Oh, my stomach," and I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I had to turn off my superpower." And he's like, "Get away from me." Yeah, it's funny. All right, so this one here, let's do this real quick because I'm dying here.
Yeah, me too.
Fatal 5 against the Legion, and what's happened is that they're like doing all kinds of weird things. They're stealing gases from a factory. Validus took a chunk of an asteroid off. They're stealing android parts, and they're thinking that that Tharok and the Fatal 5 are building an army of androids to attack. But really, they just want to get away. Emerald Empress is on a planet there with android like servants. Mano is in he breathes these toxic gases, so is in a dome. That's what the gases that he was there. And Tharok has a half metallic body. He wants to make it more human-like, and Superboy melts it.
All self-centered.
All self, yeah.
What do you call it when they think they deserve more than anybody else? Kind of, it wasn't some grand strategy. It was just
no. And Validus has this rattle, and they think it's a weapon, and it's a rattle. And so here the Legion messed up. They would have just left them alone. It wouldn't have been any trouble, but they messed up their plans to essentially just sort of recreate,
Yeah.
Kind of a strange issue.
Yeah, it was a little strange.
Yeah, a little strange issue. All right, you remember this one?
I stopped these are the books I haven't read, so you have to.
Oh, okay. All right. So essentially, this is the one where there's a planet that's enslaved by these beings here, and they're miners. They're actually a population of the planet, but because of the value of the minerals, they're enslaved by this nearby planet with these guys here. The Legion goes over there because somebody sent them a message. Good night, Jeffrey. That that there's trouble there. And when the Legion gets there, the miners are saying, leave, leave, leave. You're just going to get us into more trouble, because apparently these guys, these aliens, planted a bomb in the center of the planet. And if there's any trouble, they'll just blow up the whole planet.
Wow.
And they think the Legionnaires being there, if they observe them, they'll do that. So the Legionnaires take off and they go to the nearby planet, these people's planet, while Phantom Girl goes down into the earth to try to dismantle the bomb. And while they're up there, while they're in this other planet, which is nearby, it's like a moon, really. One of the guys on monitor duty saw Phantom Girl down there, so he goes into the room while they're talking to the leader. That's where Superboy slaps him, and he's like, didn't you hear that he said don't interrupt him? Because he was going to give him up. Yeah, right. And but they do see that that Phantom Girl is down there, and he presses the button and it goes, the screen goes blank. So they think the bomb went off. Ultra Boy is thinking Phantom Girl's dead, so he's about to kill this guy. When Phantom Girl goes, no, it's okay. I disarmed the bomb. You know, it's just that it's on the same circuit, so they saved the planet. And then the backup is Dream Girl's Living Nightmare. Again, I like it when they sort of they put the lesser Legionnaires, you know, like Dream Girl. I mean, she's gorgeous. I mean, let me show you, right? I want to show you her because she's gorgeous. And another skimpy costume, of course, but
they're all gorgeous. They're all gorgeous.
Yeah. So she has this dream. She has this dream that this politician is going to be killed. Her dreams are always right? So Chameleon Boy is going to take his place. All he knows, all she remembers is that the weapon has 3 spears, and actually the weapon is the camera that's actually putting this on the TV, I guess, at the time. But Chameleon Boy gets there too late, and the guy is shot, you know, by the camera and killed. But it's not the politician; it's that he was actually kidnapped by these rebels or insurrectionists or something, and they were gonna, you know, take over. So that was the imposter that got killed, not the actual politician. But so she saw the guy, but it wasn't actually the politician; it was the guy who was impersonating him.
Right.
Again, one of those twist of fates kind of thing, right?
Twist kind of stuff.
Yeah. And then real quick, these last few, I really like this one too. Grimbor the Chainsman and Charma.
She's beautiful.
Beautiful girl. Look, another super skimpy outfit.
Superboy's out of character, being attracted to another lady.
Well, because that's her power. Her power is that. Anybody, whenever she's in danger, everybody's there to protect her. But the opposite is women want to hurt her.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, but this guy here, he can restrain anybody, even Superboy. So, you know,
physically?
At first Physically, yes.
Oh, okay.
So they want to extort money from RJ Brand, so he actually ties up Superboy and Timberwolf and throws them over there just to show them, hey, I can do this. If you don't pay me $100 million.
What's the super strength of a Timberwolf?
What was that?
What's the super power of a Timberwolf? Just super strength?
He has super strength, super agility. Like he has like animal senses, things like that.
Oh, okay. Animal senses.
So they say, you know, if you don't pay me, I'm gonna do that to the Legion. I'll just kill them. You know, you can't stop us, essentially. And he's like, no, I'm not gonna pay you. The Legion tell them that. So they go to Legion headquarters. They capture a bunch of them, but Shrinking Violet hides away while this guy is capturing the male Legionnaires, and she's just wailing on Charma. She's just, and so they're captured there, and there's restraints, but since they can't stand her being hurt, they break out of it because her powers are so strong, it gives them like extra strength.
And then she shrink just in time. I remember that one. Okay.
Yeah. And finally they take this guy down, and the girl, and he has a restraint for her so that she can't use her powers. So he was going to eventually capture her. And they use that against her. So yeah, I like the characters though. I really like those characters. They were interesting characters.
Yeah, again, it's a lot of Star Trek-y stories in there.
Yeah. So this is the one where Tyrok uses his powers to echolocate this bomb that this gang is using to extort money from Metropolis. But if they find out he's actually using it, they'll set it off. So they set him up like he's actually mad because they don't want to move the headquarters to his island. And all these different effects happen, like earthquakes and landslides, all this stuff. But what he's really doing is echolocating that bomb, so they don't know about it. And the Legionnaires actually they fight him and everything, but it's all a ruse so he can find the bomb. They eventually do find the bomb. And even the science police is in on it. And if it wasn't for Tyrok, they wouldn't have been able to find it.
Is that Tyrok? This is like third appearance, right?
Yeah. The third or fourth, yeah.
Does he have more appearances after these?
A few more, but then he kind of goes away. Yeah. And here they take on the Time Trapper. What's interesting here is that the Time Trappers actually got 4 Legionnaires, and they're fighting them at the same time. And they figure out that actually they're actually at the same place, right? But they can't see each other because he's distorted time around them. Once they figure that out, Saturn Girl can use her powers to say, "Hey, you're not alone here. We're all here." So they attack him at the exact same instant, and he's going to throw Superboy into this red sun. He opens up this door, but because they figured out that they're all there at the same time, they actually turn the tables, and he actually throws Time Trapper into that red sun, and they get out of his trap. But this introduces Pulsar Stargrave. He's actually looking at this because he's the one who let the Time Trapper loose because he wants to put him as a partner. But the Legion actually defeated him. So on the last issue, what?
Did they actually kill him?
No.
Okay, good. Okay.
No, they don't. No, but they think they did.
Okay.
This is the final Grell issue. For this era. And again, this guy is really powerful. He can actually probably more powerful than the Time Trapper. He just
isn't this Brainiac's father or something?
Yeah, that's what we find out at the end, that he was actually thought he was killed, but he was actually reborn because he got thrown into this sun. But at that same instant, there was some kind of pulsar or something, and it reanimated him and made him super powerful. But he's recruiting the Legion to help him take over the universe. They escape, but Brainiac 5, when he encounters them at the end, says, "I know who you are," and he's telling the Legion that they should actually help him, but he's actually setting something up. So this is one of those issues where it's actually a subplot that goes on to the future. He shows up about 4 or 5 issues later.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so
And that's it.
I'm I'm sorry, guys. I didn't mean to keep you guys this long. Wow, it's and
I
I
told you
feel
we got to
sorry.
be quick. We got to be quick with those recaps, man.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But chat room, those of you, the 6 of you still out there.
Yeah, those are
Sorry about
brave. Those are brave folks over there. Those are true fans there, boy.
that. But anyway, let's just in the any last minute thoughts, just really quick.
Well, for me, you had the Cockrum era, which brought the to me the Legion into a much more futuristic world, not like the 20th century rendition of a 30th century world, right?
What? It's over already?
It's funny. But Mike Grell took that world and actually made it even more futuristic, more dynamic, more action packed. The Legionnaires were, like I said, more statuesque. The ladies were, more hourglass. Some skimpier, but many were independent. So there was kind of a back and forth in that way, but visually a striking difference from the Silver Age. When I started collecting them, probably about issue 210 or so, and immediately fell in love with the fact that they were teenagers, the fact that they were independent. In other words, they acted independently. They weren't like part of, like their parents would tell them what to do and all that, because we wanted to do what we wanted to do.
Yeah. Right.
And the like you were saying, the actual luster of the world with the ships, the costumes, the villains, the planets, the technology, all that kind of stuff mingled together there made it, a kid, just her mind blown of the possibilities of the future. That's what I think.
Right. Like even for instance, they even had like where there's a kingdom, for instance. What's the name? Projector.
Yeah, Princess Projector.
Princess Projector.
World, yeah.
She's from the world where there are still loyalties and assassinations and all that.
Yeah.
You imagine this universe is 30. Hey, this is 30th century, so it should be all utopian society. But really, there's people out in the planet that hasn't. That's not much of a utopian society.
Yeah, the same issues we're running across today or back then was in the 30th century, just in different planets or different circumstances. But they had the same issue: slavery, racism, poverty, pride, criminality. Everything was there.
Yeah. I just know that I'm a huge fan of Mike Grell, and I like the universe he creates. But I have no idea whether how much he was involved in creating the universe here. But I was just attracted to his art. Reading this stuff, I'm a huge Star Trek fan, so it's a kind of story that I like. Just that was a little bit too much, too much of a question going on, because I'm asking more questions than reading the story, right?
Yeah.
So, but still love the art. Still, and the premise of all the stories, I enjoy them. Just that kind of wish some of them I could have just left it to my imagination.
Right. Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Like the thing I could have pointed out like 20 more issues of things that went on, right?
Right.
That, when you think about it logically, there were easier solutions than what they came up with, right?
Right.
But again, that's not the point of the story. The point is to make it so that there's action and there's conflict and that there's surprise.
Yeah, the surprise. The surprise is a surprising element supposed to.
Yeah, misdirection was a big part of the storytelling here.
Yeah, right.
And as a kid, now as an adult, I see those faults like you do, and I'm like, you know. But as a kid, I didn't think that kind of three-dimensionally. I thought I was immersed into that universe
Right,
and
right.
just
Yeah.
accepted it.
I could really appreciate that. When reading this, you have to put yourself in that kid's mind.
Exactly.
You have to put yourself in that kid's mind. Just like same thing about Commandees, you know. You have to put yourself in that kid's mind before you
Correct.
read it. Right? Otherwise, yeah. So
yeah, like Jackson Roy Kirk says, you know, in the Silver and Bronze Age, you don't ask too many questions. Just go with it. You know, just go with it. Just
Yeah.
enjoy
Put yourself
what's
the
in front
kid's
of you.
mind.
You know.
Yeah. Anyway, Roger, appreciate you. Hey, appreciate the chat. Everybody coming up here.
Yeah, great stuff in the chat.
Thank you, guys.
Hey, Cap.
Till next time.
Yeah, next month we'll do something else for hopefully only a couple hours then.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah. Maybe we could shrink down 1 hour. Maybe we could plan a little bit better.
Oh, 1 hour, forget it. The three of us, forget it. If we can do it 2, we're lucky.
Okay.
All right, buddy.
Good night, guys.